Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So, I'll give you an update on where we've got with the chicken run. So I've got this side done. We've got this framing. One of the problems I'm having at the moment is getting hold of chicken wire. Chicken wire seems to be quite hard to get hold of at the moment. I've checked out a few DIY shops and stuff, and no one's got any in stock, and they don't know when they're going to get it back in stock again. So that's causing me a bit of a delay with this place. I've got the main frame in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a door. I need to put another post in this side, and I'm going to stick a door here so I can come in that way and come out of that side. And I've got this little space at the end. What I'm thinking is I might put some sort of shed or storage unit so I can put all this chicken food and everything at this end. But it needs to be narrow enough so I can store the chicken food, but I need to be able to get behind here so I can cut this hedge. I mean, that's one of the biggest problems with the other with the chicken run over at the other side, and I don't want to fence this off because I like this green material. It's going to make me some good compost. At least half the chicken run's done. The main frame's in. I still haven't found a home for these logs. I might leave them here for now, and we'll figure out what we're going to do with them. I know I'm going to keep some here so I can use them to make food for the chickens, and I'll show you how I make food for the chickens and get the chickens to be eating for free. So let me go and show you what I'm going to make the chicken run with. So towards the end of last year, I found this solid wood cupboard, and someone was throwing it away, so I just picked it up and brought it home. And at the time, my wife told me off for just bringing home other people's rubbish. And I had an idea. I knew I could use it for something, and this is what I'm going to do with it today. I'm going to turn it into my chicken coop. I mean, I've got it left over. I left it over, and some of the glue's come apart. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna attach it back together and rejoin it, because it's quite flimsy at the moment. These pieces are coming off, so I'm gonna have to glue it and get it all solid again and make sure that it's looking nice. First thing we'll do is we'll give it a good wash, and then we'll give it a good. We'll put some treatment onto it. So I'll give it a good scrub and just get any loose dirt off, so when I get the paint on and the treatment on, it'll stick on properly. But I need to let this dry and hopefully if I can get the paint and get this painted and get this dried and painted today, then I can get on with the next stage. So these doors, or these cupboards, have been falling apart. So I'm just putting them back together with a bit of reinforcement with some glue to reinforce it. Oops. There we go. I'm not going to let this go to waste, don't worry. I'm going to have this back spick and span, and it's going to be awesome. Yes. So a little bit of glue dollop there, let that dribble down, and the same on the other side. A little bit there. And get this slid back in place. So get the top piece pushed back in. There we go. A couple of little bits of glue there. And anyone would think I did this for a living. See the trim, the beading's getting caught when I'm pushing it in, so that's okay. So I'm stopping it now. There we go, back together. There we go. This cupboard's actually quite nice. I don't know why they threw it away, but they're actually quite nice, these cupboards. So on all these bits of wood, all the other pieces, what I've been doing is I've been clear coating it. So it's not the old creosote stuff. You can't get that anymore. But it's the substitute. So I'm just adding loads of this clear coat on, and hopefully that'll protect the wood. So they come in these tubs like this. It's just the old style oil. So I'll just oil this wood up, and hopefully that'll give it a good few years of protection, as well as stopping any bugs and stuff getting in. So the old creosote was good in terms of bug control, but really harmful for the environment. Now this is less harmful to the environment, but it's not as good for controlling bugs on and stuff. But it'll do. I mean, it'll do. The problem with having a wooden chicken coop is you do get a lot of red mite, and that's one of the problems I've got with my old grain chicken coop at the moment, is loads of red mite. They live in the cracks and stuff. So what I'm tempted to do is, once I've sealed this up with all this clear coat, we're decorating the house at the moment, so if there's any white gloss left over, I might just paint the inside of the chicken coop with white gloss, and that way if there's any red mite and stuff, it's a lot easier to spot. So I've started fastening the base of the cupboard together, and what I'm having to do is extend it, because this is the width of the cupboard. Now when I looked at it when it was all put, you know, when it was in pieces, it looked like it would have been an okay size, but now I'm looking at it, and when I'm looking at it in perspective and in relation to the other chicken coop, I realise it's too narrow. It's just too narrow. The chickens aren't going to be able to get up onto the perch and perch up like 2 or 3 birds. I've taken a couple of pieces of the top board and I've attached it, and I'm just making it a little bit wider. So you can see it's about 8 inches wider now. So just fasten this to a couple of bits of batten. Now that I've done this adjustment, it's going to mean that I'm going to have to do a bit of chopping and changing to match the rest of the cupboard, to match the rest of the bits of wood to the roof and to the side, because it's obviously I'm going to end up taking the bits from the roof and attaching it to this side to make this part wider and fill this part in. So I'll figure it out. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. Things never go to plan, but we'll get there in the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach the legs. This is going to give it the height. So I measured these legs so they sit at least a few inches above the wheelbarrow, so I can scrape everything straight out the chicken coop, straight into the wheelbarrow. Just like in the last build. So that's the base up. My wife had to help me flip it over, so that's why we stopped filming. But the legs are on, and it actually looks like a quite nice table actually. It's a very nice colour actually. So what we will do is we'll give it another lick of creosote and make sure that it's all that oil soaked into the wood properly. So it's taken a couple of workings. It's taken some brain power getting this done, because I initially designed it so that back piece sat on top of the base, but now I've attached it in a way so that the back piece sits onto the side, and then it's easier to screw into the frame at the bottom. So, and I'm going to do the same thing with this, and I've got the 4 posts cut out, and I'm just about to stick the 4 posts in, and then it's just a case of sticking everything on. And before I put the roof on, I'm going to give it one last coat, give the inside a good coat of creosote or clear coat, whatever it's called, the not as good one. Then I'll figure out how to make the egg box or the nesting box and that side of it. But let's get this done and let's get this cladded and finished off, and then we can start thinking about that side and giving it a final coat. So we're packing up for the night. We've got the main frames on now and the roof supports are on, everything's on, and it's starting to take a bit more, it's starting to get a bit more strength. Now the next thing to do is to get the walls cladded. I think we might give this a lick of paint before we do anything else. It's not bad for also recycled wood so far. The only thing we're paying for is some brackets and some screws, but I think it's a pretty decent job so far. So once we get the top and the sides on and it starts to take a bit more shape, it'll make a lot more sense of what I'm doing and how it's looking. But I think it's looking pretty good so far. We'll give you an update on the next stages as we get there.